Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express, the important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 30th of March. The first important news, that is no eviction for Great Nicobar project. The statement coming from the minister, and this is with regards to the Great Nicobar project, which was recently proposed by the Niti Aayog. Second, Defense Ministry Inc. deal with Project Akshatri. Third, SEBI to boost disclosure norms. And today there's two editorial that is on the discussion. First is from the Indian Express and the other is from Hindu. That is Smart PDS scheme, a bold initiative of digitalization. And second, India's DPI catching the new wave. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press a like button. And those of you who are looking forward for CSE 2023 and still finding a problem in CSAT paper, we have solutions for you where you can excel in CSAT via test and practices. We are providing you high quality tests. There's a 5 test which will be there based on the latest approach and difficulty level of the examination, and the detailed solution will also be provided by the expert, right? So do check it out. In the video के description में link दिए हुए हैं. You can find more other details from there and register for the course. Now the first news, that is no evictions for Great Nicobar project, something important for General Studies paper 3, that is conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation, NEI. So there was a statement by minister. Why we are discussing this news? Because this has come into light after the Minister of Tribal Affairs has said Rajya Sabha that the government will not allow the displacement of tribal people to make the way for Great Nicobar project. Now, what is this Great Nicobar project all about? Recently, Niti Aayog ने proposed किया था एक project that is costing around 75,000 crore rupees, and this call for holistic development of Great Nicobar Island in Andaman and Nicobar. So this was the actual program, or you can say the plan that was envisaged by Niti Aayog, but there were a lot of concern that was raised from the environmentalist and the biodiversity experts. They have said they have raised concern regarding this particular project, right? Now, in this regard only, the minister has made a statement in the Rajya Sabha. Now, government के stand की बात करें, the Minister of Tribal Affairs has said that the utilizations of tribal reserve area will be subject to the interest of local tribal people which they are living, और वहाँ पे एक specific tribe है, that is Sompian tribe, that is classified as PVTG, that is particular vulnerable tribal group. Very important, there can be a direct question in prelims examination asking about the reason or the tribe belonging to. There had been some question in UPSC prelims examination, so this becomes factually important for your prelims. Now, the government said that the utilization of tribal reserve area will be subject to following condition. First, that is the interest of tribal population, specifically the Sompian, particularly vulnerable tribal group, is not affected or adversely impacted. तो इनको जो particular tribal groups हैं, इनको किसी भी तरह से कोई problem नहीं आनी चाहिए. Their Indianization should not be impacted. This is first condition. The other condition is that there would be strict implementations of the provision, which is to protect an aboriginal tribe. This is specifically to protect the specific tribe, that is Sompi. Now, displacement tribe will not be allowed within ecotourism, that will be regulated in an effective manner. And further, government ने ये clear किया that Lieutenant Governor of Andaman and Nicobar has already constituted an empowered committee to get a view and consultation on the impact of the project. So you can say this will be more of environmental impact assessment or the social impact assessment that can be there because of this project. Now, diversity in Andaman and Nicobar की अगर बात करें, first before I discuss the part, map work is important. You should know where the region is actually. This is Andaman and Nicobar. This is Andaman Sea. This is Great Nicobar. Then we have Sri Lanka there, and this is Lakshadweep, right? Sometimes aspirants tend to confuse in this, and there has been question with regard to 10-degree channel, which UPSC has already asked in 2016. So do check out the map work. Now, talking about diversity, it's one of the global hotspot which has a rich biodiversity, close to 86% of the area covered with lush green and rainforest. The archaeology has great historical and anthropological significance, and these islands are home to Aboriginal tribe, which is protected under the Aboriginal Tribe Regulation Act because of their vulnerability and their traditional cultures. Now, some environmental concern that was highlighted specifically by the environmentalist and biodiversist. So they have said that this project is likely to impact the turtle, the megapod nesting sites of coral reef and the island. So these all point is important for prelims examination, specifically for the question which you will get in environment section. Now the project will be implemented by the Andaman and Nicobar Island integrated development corporations, which include, और इसमें development की अगर बात करें, what are the things that will be developed as an infrastructure development? It called for tranship port, airport, water plant, the power plant that will be there, and the green town field which will be there. So these are the part of the project that was recently proposed by the Niti Aayog, right? And in November 2022, the project has received stage 1 clearances from the Union Environment Ministries to divert 130 square kilometer of forest into the purposes. Now moving to the other news, Defense Ministry Inc. deal to project Akash. Something important for General Studies Paper 3, that is achievement of India in science and technology, Indianization of technology, and development of new technology. So recently, Ministry of Defense ने deal propose किया that called for automated air defense control and reporting system. We call it Project Akash, which will be, apart from this, there's other project. This is first project, and the second project is Sarang electronic support measure system for Navy, right? Now, these two deals are very important, which will call for modernization of our forces. And the ministry assigned 3 contracts, which is valued of around 5,400. Basically, the value is not important for you, right? But आपको पता होना चाहिए what is the exact thing that is happening within the government. Now, 2 contracts with the Bharat Electronic Limited, that is BEL, with 2,400 crore rupees, and another contract with New Space India Limited. Now, NSIL की अगर बात करें, it's a Central Public Sector Enterprises under Department of Space for advanced communication satellites. Now, something that is important specifically for prelims examination is Akash Tir. So it's an automated air defense control reporting system, which will empower the air defense unit of the Indian Army, which will call for Indianization, state-of-art capabilities, effective operation, and integrated manner. So this will be the state-of-art technology that we'll be using. An air defense system will enable the monitoring of airspace that will help the Indian Army ground air-based defense weapon system to augment the overall performances. Now there's Sarang system, which is specifically for the part of Navy. This will call for advanced electronic support measures for helicopters, and it is designed indigenously by the Defense Electronic Research Laboratory, which is based out of Hyderabad, and providing this particular program. Now, according to the statement of Ministry of Defense, both projects will encourage the participation of Indian Electronic Association, and even it will call the micro, small and medium enterprises and sub-vendors as a part of BL. So this will be a complete cycle of Indianization will take place in the entire manufacturing. Now, advanced communication satellites की अगर बात करें, this satellite will enable and enhance the communication capabilities, जहाँ पे mission mode पे there will be site communications to troop, formation of the weapon and airborne platforms, right? So they will be looking into the part of advancing the communication satellite, and the geostationary satellite is the first of its kind with a 5-ton category, which will develop indigenously by ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization. Now, the news that is SEBI to boost disclosure norms, something again important to regulate the part of it. Relevant for General Studies Paper 3, that is issues related to Indian economy, planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So some measures was taken by the Security and Exchange Board of India, where it called to ensure more transparency and disclosure of material events for the listed entities. तो सेबी ने गाइडलाइन में डिसाइड किया है और कुछ नॉर्म्स को अमेंड किए हैं टू हैव अ क्वांटिटेटिव थ्रेशोल्ड बाय इंट्रोड्यूसिंग द डिटरमाइनिंग एंड मेटेरियलिटी ऑफ अ इवेंट, राइट. सो दिस इज टू पार्ट ऑफ गवर्नेंस वेयर इट विल बी इंप्रूविंग ओवरऑल गवर्नेंस इन द एंटिटी which is taken care by the Security and Exchange Board of India, right? So SEBI ने अपने purview को बढ़ाया है and this will help where we have seen the cases of insider trading and other stuff which is ongoing. So this is more of a regulatory measures. So SEBI decided to do away with the practice of individual having permanent seat on the board of listed companies, and even SEBI has now allowed the private equity firms to take their own asset management companies, जैसे AMC कहते हैं for mutual fund. Every mutual fund has AMC. They regulate it part, right? Even what are the NAV, the net asset value will be there. These are the minute thing that is taken care by the AMC managers, right? Which handles the mutual fund. Now, this particular initiative by SEBI will call for improving the corporate governance. अगर corporate governance की बात करें, first there is a board and committee that is there, legal and regulatory system, hierarchy and internal control, and policies and procedures and transparency. If you're writing this specifically in mains examination, make sure you're drawing this particular graph. Now, it will bolster the part of the governance for the entities, and it will also require that any special right granted to the stakeholder of the listed entities. Now, the periodic stakeholder will also need the part of the director serving on the board, or this will do away from the practice of permanent board seat. Now, there will be variability which will be there for the members, which will be the part of directors, board of directors. Now, the market regulator has also said that the vacancy of director, compliance officer, जो CEO होंगे, even the CFO, that is Chief Financial Officer, will be within the period of 3 months from the date of such vacancies, and such critical position should not be left out, right? तो अगर किसी भी companies में vacancies हैं, they need to fill out on priority basis. Now, strengthening the governance redressal mechanism, how? By incorporating the part of online dispute resolutions, which will be extended to MIIs, that is market infrastructure intermediaries, और पूरे process को जो grievances की process उसको strengthen करने की कोशिश की गई है by the grievance redressal mechanism. Now, the proceedings for both will take place in hybrid mode, that is dispute resolution process will be there, and the part will be also adopted with the enforcement, right? So these are some of the important measures that SEBI has taken in recent time to regulate the market and the company's board of directors. Now, moving to the first editorial of the day, that is Smart PDS scheme, a bold initiative in digitalization, something important for General Studies paper 2, that is structure, that is specifically for a scheme for vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. Now, what we'll be discussing under this editorial, the first is theme, that is Smart PDS. We'll look into the about Smart PDS part, data analytics किस तरह से काम कर रही है, technology led reform, integrated management system in PDS, and the way forward. So first thing first, that is the Union Minister for Consumer Affairs has recently made a statement. This is like a month ago. They have made the statement on starting of this particular month, made statement that the Smart PDS will be implemented, and this operation will help in the part of the distributions and even call for more transparency, right? So he said that transparency will be the utmost priority with the inclusion of Smart PDS or National Food Security Act की अगर बात करें, it governs the large beneficiaries, the center-centric programs, and TPDS, that is Targeted Public Distribution System, has provided security to 81.35 crore persons every month. Now, what is Smart PDS? How it will work? So this is a system where smart ration cards are issued to the beneficiaries for the public distribution system. We have seen that a lot of leakages coming out of the PDS system. Government has taken several measures to revamp and augment the part of PDS to get the beneficiaries on track. The fingerprint template of the beneficiaries is recorded with the smart ration card, which will record all transactions. Suppose if you're buying rice or even wheat or sugar, which is provided in PDS, that will be taken into record. Now the ration is given to a fair shop, which is they say PDS या फिर PDS shops भी कहते हैं, we call it fair shop, मतलब productions and ration card by member of the beneficiaries family. Now there's a data analytics which is there. So center will take into consideration where the entire data of the beneficiaries will be kept along with the central government, and these will be shared with the this will be shared with the entities or the enforcement agencies that is implementing the part of PDS distributions, right? And there's other concern also because these will create a lot more data, right? So जो beneficiaries के data है उन्हें secure करना, and also using this for food security and many other patterns like और भी जो government के beneficiary scheme है, this will also help in getting the required for the migration, because government has allowed, suppose an individual who is a resident of Bihar or a resident of West Bengal or a resident of Jharkhand and he is living in Delhi, he can withdraw the PDS, right? So it will also call for a pattern of migration and check what is the real-time status. And small PDS initiative will go a long way to address this deficit, right? And the lack of credible and dynamic data on consumption and mobility pattern will again be a big challenge. Now, technology-led reform is helping. Anything that is backed by technology has given a ease in that particular implementations. So technology की अगर बात करें, it will call for PDS organization with IT hardware, software and more technical manpower, and this will institutionalize the part of integrated system with all PDS across the country for all the state and for all the union territories. Now, nearly 93% of the total monthly allocation food grain are distributed through Aadhaar authentication using the electronic point of sale devices. Now, there's integrated management for public distribution system. How and why? Because this provide end-to-end computerization of TPDS, and the government has launched integrated management of public distribution system. उसके कुछ objectives हैं. The first is to implement one nation, one ration card. Now, probably nationwide this will be implemented, and creating of a national data repository for deduplication of the beneficiaries and ration card, and even creating for integrated digital infrastructure across the management of PDS, allocations, supply chain, the food grain, and FPS automation along the centers in all the states. Now, the way forward across the part which we have discussed. Now, this particular initiative which was taken by government as a smart PDS will ensure the efficient and effective food management in the country, with technological advancement playing a very crucial role, right? Now, the technological upgrade in the PDS, that is public distribution system, will ensure the transparent delivery system and reduce the corruption, reduce the middleman. The beneficiaries will be getting most benefit out of it. Now, the scope of the smart PDS is clearly beyond the ration distributions. Now, moving to the second editorial of the day, that is India's DPI catching the next wave. It's important for General Studies paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So the theme is digital public infrastructure. We'll look into the Aadhaar and private sectors, how DG Yatra and DG Locker has helped the citizen of this country, what is the impact of UPI and the way forward. Now, digital अगर public infrastructures की बात करें, we call it TPI. This is something a cornerstone for human progress. And the recent time in 21st century, we have seen a lot of reform coming out from the TPI. Now, in 21st century, technological advancement has created a tempest for ideological, geographical, and economic implications that poses a new challenge. Now, digital public infrastructure is a marvel that has shaped the partnership. Even government or state के बीच में coordinations पड़ी हैं. Even the regulators, the private sectors, selfness, volunteers, startup, and academia and think tank has actually been benefited with the help of digital public infrastructure. And just to remind you, you can get a direct question in DPI in the mains examination. There's very high possible chances that you will get a questions. Now, Aadhaar in private sectors की अगर बात करें, Aadhaar, which is something very important, started in 2014, has a wider scope, which has envisaged and enabled the rocket ship to launch good governance in the country. And in the judgment, the Supreme Court has also affirmed the privacy of Aadhaar to be a sacrosanct, which is something which is good for a good thing, that for a good cause that has been done. Now, Aadhaar hold basically voluntary uses for private purposes, and even the private sector entities did not need permission to use it for specific purposes for credit and financial institutions. Now government department भी इसे use करते हैं and they can use it to share the information, but a prior consent is required with the individual. Now banks and regulated entities can store the Aadhaar number, which means like the UAI के साथ जो सिक्योरिटी रेगुलेशन है उन नॉर्म्स को फॉलो करनी होगी बैंक्स को, देन ओनली दे विल बी एलिजिबल टू यूज द पार्ट ऑफ द आधार आइडेंटिफिकेशंस एंड द डेटा. Now if you see the Digi Yatra and Digi Locker, Digi Yatra was recently launched by government where you don't require a physical pass, or you can say the boarding pass. A face recognition system was introduced in major airports. एंड डिजी लॉकर की अगर बात करें, ये एक डिजी वॉलेट है जो आप इंडिविजुअल्स को प्रोवाइड करती हैं डॉक्यूमेंट रखने के लिए. इट्स अ क्लाउड बेस्ड स्टोरेज सिस्टम वेयर यू कैन सेव योर डॉक्यूमेंट्स. नाउ डीजी यात्रा पायलट हैज सीन दैट 2 lakh passengers has actually been benefited, and DG Locker today has 150 million users, 6 million stores document are there. Now, if you see the impact of UPI, right, it's made a drastic change. I personally emphasize on using the UPI, and UPI is a part that has actually helped a lot. Many people, small entities, and even as a user, you are also benefited. So UPI is an instant real messaging payment system that is developed by the NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, an umbrella body for taking the settlement part in the country. Right? किसी भी तरह की जो पेमेंट्स आप करते हैं, that is taken care, settled by the NPCI. Now, I prefer the most where the payment system is taken in country. और बहुत सारे लोगों ने UPI को यूज किया during COVID-19. Post COVID, the number of UPI has taken a surge, right? And if you see the figure, like how much UPI was used, so 39 billion transaction was there, valuing around 940 billions and equivalent to 31% of India's GDP. Now, to conclude this part, digital public infrastructure की अगर बात करें, DPI has definitely a solutions that is provided in today's world and that will enable the digital inclusions. The digital inclusion, or you can say the banking inclusion, was started with the help of जो accounts government ने जनधन accounts के through start किया था. We have leap forward now coming out with the DPI. Now, DPI has emerged as a most visible model due to its low cost, interoperability and scalable design. And there's more potential with the DPI which need to be explored. And to explore this, a finance from the government will require. And in this budget, government has categorically noted to develop the part of DPI. A lot of development will be seen in coming years. This will pave way for greater economic freedom for the citizen of this country. So this was the part for this editorial. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is A. Today's MCQ for practice. आपको बताना है सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड के बारे में. It's a statutory body under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, established Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1981. So do check it out for the correct option. The second question is regard to Dokra metal craft. It's a form of ancient bell metal craft practiced by Oja metal. And the documented history is about 500 years old. So do check it out. This type of question will also be relevant for the art and culture section. And this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.